Posted by u/Sorks. Doctors of Reddit, what's the best asking for a friend story you've heard? Doctor. Had a guy who just got out of jail a few days earlier came in with his girlfriend, who had signed him for an STD check. Walk in to meet them, and he says casually, "Is it possible to get gonorrhea in your throat?" At that moment I knew he had gonorrhea in his throat. So, how would my friend know if he had gonorrhea in his throat? Lady walks in and goes, "So, if you cheated and got pregnant, but then had sex with your husband, would the baby become his?" It took everything in me not to laugh. Hee. I would have shit myself laughing. Go on, we are watching. Go ahead. P. I asked my doctor about Alcoholics Anonymous for a friend of mine. Really? Years later the doctor still asks me how I'm doing with my sobriety. I stopped trying to convince him I really was asking for a friend. So, how are you doing? Staying clean and all? Not mine, but one of the older pharmacists I work with went out to help this 20-ish girl with some med questions. She then asked him about condoms and said, "If you were to do me, what condom would you use?" Yeah, he just walked away. You saw 12 of them at the same time. I was asked the following. So if I swallow cum and flush it down with vodka, do I still get pregnant? She was in early 20s. She waited for her actual friend who broke her nose in a bar fight. Actually, I'd say the odds are pretty good. I couldn't contain myself. I was just an intern, and she sat in the waiting room, not a patient. So I asked, "How much did you swallow?" She said that he came twice. So I said, "That vodka saved her." You lied to her. If you swallow cum and flush it with vodka, you get a Russian baby. Do you sleep with hot male patients? Asking for a friend. Kind of you to ask for friend, since you obviously aren't asking for yourself. Not a doctor but pharmacist. Someone called the pharmacy one day, a young guy. I picked up. "Excuse me, how much does Viagra cost? Is there anything cheaper? I have someone that needs it." I explain everything and suddenly, "Will it work if I take it with alcohol?" The guy began asking for someone else. At the end was for him and was asking just because he wanted his little one to work while drunk. So, does it work? Asking for a friend. There is one dream where in my dream, I'm Spider-Man, but I'm losing my powers. I'm climbing a wall, but I keep falling. In my dream. Actually, it's not even my dream, it's a friend of mine's dream. You know, I'm something of a doctor myself. Not a doctor, but I was an intern. I was in the OPD and this man from a different province came in and told me his friend has injected petroleum jelly in their member years ago and that now it's getting painful. Yeah, he came back the next day and showed his lumpy member. This is a common thing apparently. Saw a patient who did the same, had to have his penis reconstructed. He told everyone it was worth it. Not a doctor, but I saw this dude say to a doctor, "Can two white people have a black child?" Asking for a friend. The man's wife had an affair. Edit, the dude had the baby in the stroller, and when he was walking out he looked like he was going to yeet the child, and I was secretly dying inside. That's rough. He must have had so many emotions running through his head. I wonder if the guy ever suspected anything before his wife gave birth. General practitioner here. One of my non-medical friends asks me that his friend wants to know a good home remedy for an STD. I told him a tablespoon of powdered detergent mixed in 1 glass of water should work. Next thing I know, he's in my kitchen stirring a glass. What exactly is this remedy good for? Asking for a friend. Getting the stains out of your underwear. Your friend's underwear. When I was in med school, one of my classmates, who was always a bit unfocused, asked a psychiatry professor during a lecture if there was any research about cannabis and other drugs going on at our university, in case that group needed another PhD student. This classmate did not graduate, as far as I know. I met him a while ago, and he looked like a stereotypical hippie. Looked past me, not at me, and didn't recognize me, even though we were in the same case group a bunch of times. Seems like he found his own way of researching drugs. My father is a doctor, and he got a call once in the middle of the night from his call share doctor's patient. The man asked what to do about a bump on his friend's arm that he scratched and something came out. He mentioned it was leaking a little oil now. It was as it. He scratched a pimple. Woke the whole family up at 3 AM because he had to page my dad over as it. How old was this man? 13. Go back to bed, do G. That's Dr. Howard, and don't interrupt me while I'm typing in journal on my Macintosh. Studies have been done about the effects of marijuana on glaucoma. When I worked for a glaucoma specialist, we had a hippie type person come in with their family member for a new patient evaluation and ask the doctor to sign paperwork okaying a medical marijuana script for the patient's glaucoma. Problem was the patient was totally fine, didn't find any signs of the disease and his eye pressure was within normal limits. And the doctor did not appreciate having someone try to trick him. To piggyback off of this, and because I'm tired of the questions, marijuana only lowers your eye pressures for maximum 4 hours. To have sustained effects you'd need to hit the blunt 6x a day and nearly 2200 times a year. Take the damn eye drops. Divorced women / cougars like to explain muscle strains as sex injuries to get a rise out of docs. Best way to deal is to stay monotone and not react. Patient describes proximal adductor muscle pain in hip flexion during recreational activity. Rated 7/10. Pain is now present during ambulation. If you don't react, they move along. Doesn't take long in the office to have seen and or heard everything. I'm not interested that you are recently divorced, started working out, and discovered Tinder. Good on you, but it takes more to get a rise out of me. One colleague in training had a professional cuddler with a similar injury. Doc was very conservative, possibly on the sheltered side, and in front of 2 of his superiors during the case, and she was not shy. I would add she was not visually what I assume most would hope for in a professional cuddler either. That one I enjoyed, on account of him, not her. So, what does it take, Doc? Not a doctor, but was mistaken for one by a drunk dude at a costume party once. Okay, twice. Sent him to sober up the first time. Comes back 5 minutes later with no recollection of our first conversation and asks me for painkillers and at which dose they kill you. I gave him the number for the suicide prevention hotline on a napkin and told him that they can help with the issue. He happily staggered away and I haven't heard from him since. Either he got help or he didn't, but either way, it was a weird experience. You're sure it wasn't Schrodinger's cat? I'm a veterinarian. When taking a dog temperature rectally, an owner going mummy doesn't like it either. Double points if it's the male owner who says that, and the wife / girlfriend in question is right there beside him making a face that tells you he's in the shit as soon as they get back out to the car. Wife's dad is a urologist. When we first started dating, a friend of mine wanted her to ask if any of the penis enlargement pills were legit and actually worked. She went with the asking for a friend approach and he immediately assumed she was talking about me. Thanks babe. So not me, but a person I saw. So the patient, sick as heck, staggers to the doctor and at the absolute loudest possible voice she said, "Are you single?" Betty wants to know. Betty was her childhood pet cow. The doctor calmly says, "I'm sorry, but I'm not interested." We were all busting out laughing, and I barely could breathe. I later asked the doctor how he kept a straight face. He said, "Laughing on the inside, it's a lot like crying on the inside." That is now the hospital I frequently visit. So, what other asking for your friend story have you heard? Please leave your comment below. Thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for more video coming soon.